Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of Voice Radio. So today, we're going to be looking at a new Zebstrika card. And actually, we're going to be having a little look at Blitzle in here as well. The Sun and Moon 8A set, I think it's fair to say, Dark Order as it happens, has properly started leaking in Japan. The official YouTube channel has started busting out cards on a regular basis. And you know the deal, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to be here to show you every single one of them and show you how I think they can be used and whether I think they're going to be any good. So if you're not subscribed, come on, what are you doing? So, Zebstrika. Now let's not forget there is a Zebstrika that we currently haven't had, which is amazing. It's coming out in Lost Thunder, and it's got an ability whereby once during your turn you may discard your hand and draw 4 cards. And with Professor Sycamore rotating out, and with Octillery rotating out, this seems like an absolutely great card in a whole bunch of decks. So now we've got a really nice Blitzle that we may want to use, and another Zebstrika, and remember, there's nothing to stop you using them together. So this Zebstrika then, it is a lightning Pokemon. Lightning Pokemon is alright. It means you are hitting weakness against stuff like Ho-Oh and Empoleon. And it means you got access to a couple of really good cards coming in Lost Thunder. We do have Thunder Mountain, which reduces the energy cost of lightning Pokemon by 1 lightning energy. We have Electro Power, which means your lightning Pokemon do an extra 30 damage to the active. And let's not forget Zera Aura here, which will give free retreat to your Pokemon as long as they've got a lightning energy attached. Lots of good stuff about lightning Pokemon. It's got 120 HP, which is kind of a pain because it means you will be KO'd by Zoroark. And the weakness to fighting sucks because of stuff like Lycanroc. But if you put them together, your average Buzzwole with a Diancie Prism Star and weakness will be doing 100 damage, which won't be getting a KO. So at least we do have that. In terms of resistance, we have got a resistance to metal, so something like a Duskmane Necrozma can either not get a 2-hit KO, or can go ahead and just do silly damage for lots of energy, so I'm liking the resistance here. As for the retreat cost, I mean, look, on the one hand, I like the retreat cost. It's a single energy, which is nice, and it means you can use Escape Board to have free retreat, which is nice. But then on the other hand, the one with Disconnect from Next Destiny's had free retreat. Can't we have that back? Now our translation here comes from the lovely David Hochmann over on Rappelman TCG. And although it has 2 attacks, there's one here about which we are primarily concerned. 1 lightning, 1 colorless energy. If this Pokemon evolved from Blitzle during this turn, this attack does 120 damage. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a lot of damage. And it's also an attack, and stop me if you've heard me say this lately, that should seem familiar to you. It's Lucario GX's attack. Now, obviously, Lucario GX is when it evolves from Riolu, not when it evolves from Blitzle. That would be weird. But 30 damage as a base, if you evolve this turn, you get to do 120 instead. It's a nice little attack. It's a decent amount of damage. We are now back to the 120 versus 130 argument that we talked about with this HP. There's a lot of Pokemon around that do 120 and Pokemon that have 120, 130, etc. So you want to be hitting 130, 120 slightly annoying. But if you're hitting for weakness, you are rolling. Now if you're hitting for weakness, you're doing 240 damage. So something like a Ho-Oh just doesn't stand a chance. Even if you go into the expanded format and give yourself a Fighting Fury bout, it's still going down here. Maybe we'll end up with a Pokemon with 250 HP, which we do see, and a weakness to lightning. But even then, use a Choice Band or an Electro Power or a Shrine of Punishment, and you'll get a KO here. So if you're hitting for weakness, you are beyond good here. You're rolling. Without weakness, we can still get lots of KOs, but now we're in a kind of awkward situation. Because, well, you're doing 120, and then you can either use Electro Power or Choice Band that does 30 more for each. So if you add one of them, you do 150, And if it's an Electro Power, that's the non-GXs as well. Down goes Marshadow GX, which hadn't seen a huge amount of play, but was in the final of the World Championships, and a lot of most non-GXs will go down. Add 2 of these, you're up to 180, and you've got Tapu Lele going down, and you've got Rayquaza going down, all of which are very relevant. And at this stage, I know you're 10 damage short of KOing something like a Buzzwole, but you're a non-GX, so might I suggest using Shrine of Punishment to get you up to 190. If you've played 3 of these cards, you're up to 210, and there goes a Zoroark. And if you play 4 of them, that is either 4 Electro Power or 3 Electro Power and a Choice Band, you're up to 240, something like Decidueye is going down. And then even if you're up against a big boy like Metagross that's got 250 HP here, all you really need to do is whack a Shrine of Punishment in play, and you're up to 250. This is good. This is a lot of damage. Now, there is a slight issue here. And the issue is that this is only when you evolve. So if we look at something like Golisopod gets the extra damage when you go into the active. This is nice, because you can get in and out of the active regularly using cards like Guzma and Ace Roller. Here, it's not quite so easy. You need to actually evolve every turn. Now, if you're in Expanded, you can use Devolution Spray. Devolution Spray is great. And this is not the first Pokemon lately where I've mused about how much better it would be had Devolution Spray not been rotated, or if we'd gotten a new one. But that's by the by, we don't have it. That's not to say we don't have options. Ace Roller will still work, just so long as you've got damage on there. Super Scoop Up will work just so long as you can flip aheads. And look, if you can keep reusing it, you're good. The difficulty here is you're not hitting a great weakness. Maybe someday you will be, but something like a Golisopod, you're hitting weakness on Lycanroc and you're like, yeah! And something like Lucario, you're hitting weakness against Zoroark and you're like, yeah! Something like this, I mean, Ho-Oh's about the best you're doing. It's not all that and a bag of potato chips. It's just not that great. And you can get up to the big damage here. There's no difficulty getting up to the big damage, but it's not exactly reliable, because yes, you've got Electro Power. Yes, you've got Choice Band, but it's not like you can play 3 of those every turn. You can only put 4 Electro Power into your deck. Decent, but worrying. As for the attack cost here, I mean, you're fine. It is for a lightning colorless, but you've got Thunder Mountain, which will reduce it by 1 lightning energy. You've got Counter Gain, which will reduce it by 1 colorless energy if you're behind on prizes. And if you're behind on prizes, you can use Counter Energy to just flat out pay for it. Remember that Thunder Mountain and Counter Gain, if you're behind on prizes, will actually turn this into an attack that costs 0 energy. That's awesome. But the other thing to remember is if you're playing a counter deck, trying to play a whole bunch of different typings here, you could actually play Zebstrika, and you wouldn't need to play any lightning energy. You could play a Thunder Mountain and then play Zebstrika, and it becomes an attacker for 1 colorless energy. Now, it's awkward because you'd have to find your 1 per deck Thunder Mountain, but it's an option. As for the second attack, Lightning colorless, 100 damage. It's just not efficient. There are better attacks out there. Yes, it will one-hit KO a Ho-Oh. Yes, if you had a Choice Band or an Electro Power with weakness, you're up to 260 and anything weak will go down. It's just not a great use of your resources. Even bearing in mind you can use Thunder Mountain, Counter Gain, Counter Energy. You can use those with other Pokemon. Lightning colorless for 100 isn't great. But before we finish, I do need to give a shout out to Blitzle. Blitzle's a fun little Pokemon. Now, it's not Alolan Grimer good. It doesn't get its own video like that did. But it is a really, really useful card. First of all, it's got 60 HP, which is the kind of double-edged sword at the moment. On the one hand, yay, you can search it out with Professor Elm's lecture, which is good. On the other hand, boo, a Buzzwole without a Diancie Prism Star will be able to do 60 and get a KO here. So, you know, it's alright. What I like here is the attack that for a single lightning energy allows you to search your deck for 2 Electro Power and put them into your hand. We've seen how good Electro Power is. We've talked about how great it is in lightning decks. So having a Pokemon that can search it out and have it nice and early, I like. I do question whether you're going to want it early. You might not want it that early in the game, but if nothing else, it takes 2 cards out of your deck, it thins your deck a little bit, and as I've mentioned on many an occasion, you are more likely to draw your Cynthia or whatever it might be you want next turn if there are fewer cards in your deck, and it may well be that you need that extra 60 damage next turn to take a key early game KO, in which case, ladies and gentlemen, Blitzle's got yo back. I'm going to be giving Zebstrika between 3 and 4 Wassies. We don't give half Wassies, that would be barbaric. It is a nice attack, but it's a little bit awkward. It's great if you're playing a counter deck with stuff like counter energy, and it's a fun little attack that does a lot of damage, especially if you're hitting for weakness. But I don't have faith in it being reliable enough to be amazing. Good, should see play, not amazing. But if you agree, or you disagree, or you want to say hello, or you want to tell me what your favourite flavour of M&Ms are, if you don't say caramel, you're wrong, let me know in the comment section. Go nuts, but do remember the rule. Be nice. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at the Wassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all of that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing, as always, is to look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.